case briefs, and so much more. LSData's got what you're looking for.
In 1949, the U.S. Supreme Court heard a case known as Wilkerson v. McCarthy, centering on the question of employer negligence in worker injuries. The case involved a railroad switchman who was injured in a railroad yard. When he fell into a pit he was traversing on a narrow boardway, he pressed charges against his employer for negligence under the Federal Employers Liability Act. The pit in question was constructed in 1942, with the railroad company having subsequently installed safety chains and posts around part of the pit. Whether or not employees continued to traverse the pit after these safety measures were added was a contentious issue at the heart of the case. At first, the trial judge directed the jury to return a verdict in favor of the railroad. When the switchman appealed, the decision was upheld by the Utah Supreme Court. However, the U.S. Supreme Court accepted the case to review the decision due to concerns about how the lower court handled the evidence. Justice Black led the majority opinion in the U.S. Supreme Court, explicating the core grievance of the switchman that the railroad company was negligent, a claim fervently denied by the railroad. Notably, the court found that the Utah Supreme Court may have erred by resolving conflicting testimony on its own. This act potentially infringed on the switchman's right to a jury trial as it pertains to FELA cases. The Federal Employers Liability Act imposes liability for negligent injuries only, and that negligence is supposed to be determined by a jury's assessment of whether an employer's conduct measures up to what a reasonable and prudent person would have done. To this end, the Supreme Court stated that the Utah Supreme Court committed an error by removing the jury from its pivotal role in the case. As such, the High Court reversed the ruling of the Utah Supreme Court, affirming that the trial court should have rightfully left the case to jury deliberation. The case was subsequently remanded for further proceedings consistent with this opinion.
Case briefs, and so much more. LSData's got what you're looking for. Visit lsd.law, elevate your mind. Leave the stress of class.